Timecode Cowboys, the best podcast of all motherfucking time.
Not hearing that?
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
You are?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Maybe because
No.
3.
I can hear you. I can hear me. Oh, 3 is headphones. I can't hear any of the... Let me try that again. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
How
well,
come you could hear it, though?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, anyways, let's try that again. Oh, here we are.
Woo!
What?
Crack that whip.
Yes, crack that whip. In the words of Devo, Mark Mothersburg. Mother's Bar? Mother's Bow. I don't know. I never...
That's the one, right?
I think... Yeah, that's the band.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, should we start with a little Nespresso plug?
Yeah, we were both... Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
So-
We always crave a good shot of espresso.
Yeah.
And when we moved to this house, we did not bring our Nespresso maker, and Danny's been upset with me ever since.
Well, I wouldn't say I'd been upset with you.
Well,
I
you've
think
noticed
sometimes.
it, and I rectified the situation.
Yeah. Nespresso.
A shout out to Nespresso.
They sent us this, actually. They said, we love the Timecode Cowboys.
wish.
Let's get them some coffee.
Well-
So where are we going? You picked mine for me. They gave you a sampling
Yeah.
of different ones in the kit, right?
I'm doing the Alticio.
I'll do yours
Because my name is
first.
Al.
It's closer. Yeah. Anyway, we can talk while this is going.
Okay, maybe you might want to put
Yeah.
that under
Oh,
there.
yeah, that probably would help.
That would help. Is that all the way down? Lock her in. There you go. Is there an on button?
It's blinking, which means the water's heating up, and I
All
think
right.
the unit has received
So
it.
I get to go first. That'll be
Yeah,
good.
you get to go first. Yeah, maybe this could be a new tradition. And Nespresso, if you want to send us anything, you're welcome.
Some coffee
to
would be good. I have
send
the
us-
coffee maker now.
Hey, we're cool. We're just like George Clooney and Brad. We're out there. We're
Yeah.
doing Nespresso. Oh,
Oh, yeah. It's coming now.
it sounds cool. Sounds like a TIE fighter zooming in.
Yeah. The
This is the
anticipation
latest-
is killing me.
The top of the line, right? This is the new one.
It's not the top of the line.
I think it is.
Well, I got one that would fit.
Usually
this
it does
space.
that, and then it starts.
Also, I have to
work.
apologize for this space because we are still finishing up the house. A lot of things are out here. It's a little messier than I
Oh, don't apologize.
prefer. Well, now that we're using video as an element, I have to explain that. It will look tidier soon.
Yeah,
How's that?
it's okay. Listen,
Anything coming? Oh, no, wait. Now it's got nothing.
then I hit it right because
I
now
think-
it's of solid light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
How quickly we forget.
Yeah. Well, it's a new machine. It's the top of the line.
I know.
I guess we don't need to
Call it whatever you
wait. Yeah. So this is another episode where we're kind of just like number 11 on the roster, not necessarily 11 in show order because we have mixed up some of our episodes here.
I don't know if we have.
What is going on with it?
I don't know. We didn't read anything. Danny just ripped it out of the box and plugged it in, and it's not working. It's okay. We'll figure it out later.
Do you think it needed to go through a sort of?
I'll press it again. There's water in there. Just see what happens.
I mean, it sounds like it's working.
None of this is we're gonna have to start all over again.
I think it's kind of funny.
Small bits. All right. This is not worth the trouble.
okay.
We'll deal with it later. All right, good. That's
That's cool.
$2.50. Is there something blocking it? Is there an insert there? No. Don't worry about it. We're wasting a lot of precious time.
There is an insert.
We'll fix it later, unless you want to stop.
We'll fix it later. Yeah, we'll do this later. Well, hey, listen, Espresso is a great brand. Even if we didn't read the manual on how to use it, we're big fans of Espresso, and we
Kind of
can.
got me all excited about having an espresso now.
Should we pause?
No, it's not worth the trouble.
I bet you it is an easy fix.
It's not worth the trouble. Let's
Okay.
We'll restart. Ready?
We'll have a coffee after.
Yeah, after. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome back to Timecode Cowboys. My name is Alex Smite.
And I'm Danny Smythe.
Yes, Father.
Yes.
And we're back
Yes,
for
we're
more,
back.
more
We're back for
hilarity.
more. Pardon us if we're a little tired. We did play a round of golf this morning.
We did,
just 9 holes up at Eaton Canyon, which is our local course, or your local course rather. But we've made a tradition of going there at least once a week. I missed a couple weeks, so I was a little rusty getting back out there, but it felt good to be back on the fairway again. And Eaton was thankfully spared in January during the fires. They're pretty close to the
were right up to
all the limit there. Yeah, but they're doing good. Back strong as ever.
Yeah.
And we love it
fun.
out there.
It's a nice way to start the day.
They have a
being
great
outside.
breakfast burrito. If anyone's ever, just if you don't golf, you could go there and just eat. They have a really good breakfast burrito.
And drink. They have a bar.
They got a bar. Yeah, they got it all.
They got it all. Everything's happening.
So this is number 11 for us on the docket, on the roster.
On the schedule.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I know. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah. In our last recorded episode, we did a sort of catch-all thing and ended up just sort of talking about different topics and keeping it pretty loose. I think we're doing the same thing again just because I find that's our bag.
We found that we had just started to kind of scratch the surface a little bit with AI.
Yeah.
And I think, just between the 2 weeks ago or whatever, there's been so much more stuff. It feels like it's exponent. It is.
I know, it's the kind of thing.
So we wanted to address that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Bit too.
So much happens because of that space being sort of like driven by people who are hungry to get themselves into the metaverse or whatever. So they're just moving so fast. Yeah.
First it's going to be. We don't know.
It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, no, we definitely can touch on that because I think even when we began to talk about it last episode, we was still very, we got into some stuff, but it was like, yeah, there's more that could be said about that, especially in its impact on creatives and where the industry's going. But I think the biggest thing, at least that we were most recently talking about, if we're just going to start this thing off with AI, is that there's going to be a major choke point coming up because there's just no power to the energy source required to run these data centers, not only electricity but water, because they use chilled water to run through the entire to keep the GPUs from overheating, because these things get so hot when they're computing. I think we can all relate to that. Anybody who has a laptop that's done anything that more than just writing on it, it gets hot. It takes energy. You ever sit with it on your lap sometimes, and you're like, God damn! I'll be on the couch sometimes working.
My balls are hot.
We got to censor that for the
It's true though.
Kids. Yeah,
it's in your lap.
It's in your lap. You're like, oh damn.
It can't be healthy.
It's tough, man. But yeah, so I mean, if that's what the laptop's doing, imagine what
a whole warehouse
of NVIDIA chips are doing when you're generating what are people generating? Fucking Trump pissing or something. I don't know, That's
the other thing.
That's the other thing is AI art right now is what is that? It's just trash. It's things that are
not everything. And that's why one of the reasons why I think this deserves a second go around from us. In particular, because you've been utilizing it a little bit.
Yeah,
now.
I've been toying around with it.
Actually, a little bit of work with it. So
yeah, sizzle reels, and specifically, I can't say which.
Yeah, but a sizzle reel.
What the project is, but typically those things have they're very loose in that if you're trying to put a sales tape together or sizzle, you can kind of pull from any movie ever and use licensed and copywritten material and music. And
the idea that this is the
here's the vibe, here's the tone.
It's
like when you hear screenwriters say it's a cross between Born Identity and
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. Sounds cool.
Actually, pretty cool. It's a great cover for a spy.
That would be, yeah,
nanny.
with the Moby soundtrack. So yeah, it's I've been doing these more recently, but in the past it was always just pulling from. Which is fun for me too, because obviously you'd be like, oh,
well, you're probably seeing some of these now that we were just goofing around.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the intros, and we'll for sure include one.
Oh, we gotta put one in here. Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
But so I mean, talk a little bit about what your experience is and what you're finding.
Yeah,
is the most fun thing about it, and also what feels like, I don't know.
It's kind of scary. It's definitely scary. It's definitely also again, I think I probably said this in the last episode, and it might not be the popular opinion, but it does feel like, for whatever reason, with using it in this capacity, like I can't really think about it ethically because it's become a tool. And I definitely feel like that's a whole other conversation that we should have. Maybe,
Well, maybe that's what this
part 2 of this.
That's what this is.
That's what this
maybe.
is. But just speaking about it for a moment as a tool, you know, sort of agnostic.
You're not a tool.
objective.
Hey, you're awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I like your
Yeah.
shirt.
Oh, thanks. Oh man, I really wanted coffee. This thing isn't working. But it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, we can just keep rolling and try to figure it out. But
We
do
can.
you really want to? We can.
Yeah, we had tried to get this.
Why don't you keep going? Let me look at the thing. Let's see what
No. Let's go.
All right.
I'll finish. Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll take a pause or something. But where was I? Yes. So it's, you know, it's challenging and definitely not like out of the box, ready to go. I mean, it is, but it's like the funny thing about all of these is like if you want them to produce good results, you really do have to kind of. It kind of feels like you're project managing. Yeah, it's promptography is like what they call it, where you're essentially just curating a list of prompts to get it closer and closer to the result you want. Like where it does have the best kind of success so far and consistency is with like exterior establishing shot things. Like I was cutting a sizzle for something that's supposed to be set in Europe at a, you know, a fictional school, and it's like there's definitely movies and references that I could have pulled from for exterior shots, but they're either too brief or too quick or not consistent. And so what it was really good at is like filling those kind of holes that would otherwise have been filled by like a random YouTube link or a exterior drone shot. Yeah, it's just like you could get more dialed in with like, you know, I want to push in on these gates that say this word, and it's getting a lot better.
Yeah, the camera moves are impressive.
They are. Different models have different sort of shortcomings, and right now it does feel like this weird horse race where they're all kind of like almost neck and neck, and then one will inch out in front of the other.
Let me ask you this, because
so,
you're interacting with it more than I am, especially the video stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you find that some excel at certain things? Like I know that one that we were both fiddling with is Vio that does like the dialogue is and the sound, everything was really impressive.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
Visuals were great too. But is it something like that where one maybe you get a better line reading?
Yeah. Definitely right now the best in the whole ecosystem of these things is the Google DeepMind VO3, which is crazy. It's like text to image, text to video, and text to speech. But you got to be really kind of prescriptive about bracketing it out, at least in my experience of like, here's the action line, almost like it's designed to be filmmaker forward, where it's like, here's your scene heading, and the dialogue is this.
Whereas some of the other ones may not respond to that.
Well, the other ones just can't do audio at all. I mean, they can potentially do like sort of background noise, but like not dialogue like VO.
Like, I mean,
it's crazy.
Music, dialogue, sound effects.
AI does this thing too. They call them like hallucinations in the industry, where if it doesn't know something, it'll make it up. And
don't we all?
But yeah, honestly, when pressured. But like it happens if you ever use ChatGPT or Claude or the Anthropic one, like they will, if kind of push comes to shove and they don't have an answer for something, they can just wholesale start to make things up, and you can call them out on it, and then they will like admit and correct course and log that in their little, you know, whatever the model improves.
Can you preemptively prompt that? Like blah, 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 and if you don't have an answer,
haven't tried that. But what I was getting at is that those, just like the chat models have hallucinations, like video ones do too, where it's like you could say such and such scene, exterior, beach villa. Is that your phone?
Yeah, it was my foot.
Was it? Oh, I thought your phone just rang.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got text.
You got to turn that on silent, bro. Come on, man. Do you take this pod seriously?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Makes one of us.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's just it's wobbly, and like sometimes you'll get it doing these hallucinations where it's adding audio that shouldn't be there. Like you'll give it a line and then it adds another, or will tail off with a piece of score at the very end. It's also limited to like 8 seconds max right now, which is pretty limited. So there's this thing that went
it's more than you'd think, though.
Yeah, but still, it's like
considering the detail,
kind of hamstrings you for telling anything of any.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do it in cuts, and then I think that's actually we could talk about that because you've noticed that's been one of the problems is once you, let's say you start with an opening shot and you want to do a 5-shot thing.
Yeah,
8 seconds or less. The consistency is the hard part, where you can't say referencing this, now do that.
Yeah.
It gets a little lost.
It does. There's definitely tools to keep it consistent. Like right now, the main ones I'm using. Sorry if I sound like I'm being vague. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to talk about it. Because it's weird. It's like I'll just have a bunch of tabs open when I'm experimenting with these things, and it's kind of alongside like real media that I'm using for these. Mostly I'm just using it in these sizzle reels where it's like you're already kind of got this like stew of a bunch of different pieces and ingredients. And so like adding these in doesn't really, you can kind of get away with it more because it doesn't need to be consistent.
Right.
But like what that also means is that I don't think it's yet at a point where it could be like stylistically kind of homogenous and feel like part of the same world. Because even without the character thing, it's also just like it's very hard to get it to be consistent with like lighting or instances. It's the way people are doing it is that you'd have to kind of bootstrap your own model. There's a place called GitHub where people share like code, source code. It's like a place for coders essentially. Upload and share sort of hacks and shortcuts they have. And there's a very popular tool on there called Automatic 1111, which is just like a AI tool that you could run on Python on your Mac. I mean, you got to have like enough GPU power.
What's Python?
Python is a Windows script that runs like in a sandbox, like an app that you could then go to an IP address and like run an app. So like there's this thing called Comfy UI that basically takes like different models, like the base like learning, like machine learning models for image making and like extracts them for you to use. But it's a very manual process and it's all like node based where it's like you have to start with a model, then a text prompt, then a negative text prompt. And then you could add these things in called LoRa's, which are like, will bake in a style sort of, or attempt to kind of get it closer. So there is a workflow to kind of get it more consistent, but it feels very manual right now. And a lot of where the industry's headed is like keeping it all in one place. And I think right now, the big tools that I've been using and that seem to be kind of vying for control are the Google one that we mentioned, VO, Runway, Midjourney, and then also in the mix is like this place Kling and Luma, and like there's others that I'm sure I'm forgetting, but like right now they're all kind of like trying to, and then of course Meta, which is Facebook and just poached a bunch of AI talent. So
their pockets are deep.
And OpenAI.
It reminds me a little bit of it happened both in production when digital film cameras, for professional use, were about to happen. Like there were so many different manufacturers, and now what's happened? They've emerged with like Alexa and the Red. There's a couple Sony.
Yeah.
But the field was
Black
narrowed
Magic
considerably, and the same thing happened in post production. There were and we talked about this in previous pods about all the different systems that were coming out for electronic editing, and eventually somebody's going to get to become the head of the pack. And
100%.
A lot of these other ones just go by the wayside.
Yeah.
And the other thing we kind of should talk about too is that clearly, especially here, in LA, a lot of these AI companies are focusing on visuals for a reason. They want to get into the filmmaking market.
They do.
Whether it's using fully AI animated things, but whatever. Otherwise, what's the point of developing these sophisticated visual tool that can create images?
Well, yeah. And it's funny too, because they're definitely trained on like limited data sets, right? And that's like where these things run up against problems, because there's only so much data they could feed it. And they're, publicly saying that it's all, non-copyright material, but clearly it isn't if it's producing results with high fidelity based on like IP. I mean, you get flagged sometimes if you even mention something around a name.
We were fiddling with it, and we'd say like
in the style of Blade Runner,
the style of that,
yeah,
and it looks
it
an awful lot like Blade Runner.
But then what you have there is that it's like just sort of in one little niche or sort of alleyway of thinking, and when it will really kind of like, I think what they're probably heading towards is some sort of a, like it needs to be end to end all in one box. And I was reading something recently where it's like, a lot of the reason why, the time limit, and then also like the codecs that these things come out in are MP4s, because it's just so easy to, for the streams of data that they have of people downloading every day when they're generating things. It's just like it has to be a kind of lightweight codec. But like I was reading something that was kind of interesting where it was like, well, when they figure out how to do like AI video at like 10 or 12-bit color and like keep it log so that it's like in a kind of
So it's
a color space that you can color.
Level, media.
Exactly.
But that'll happen, I think. At
think
some
it
point,
will.
somebody, if they're going to, I think right now the AI pie is a big tent.
Yeah.
And that, I don't think that's going to last. I think what'll happen is, depending on what seems to be getting the most interest, if there's a visual element like this, that will become a focus for some company.
Yes.
It's going to do that and do it really, really well.
Yeah.
And then the other one that may be more text-based, the large language model to be specific.
Yeah.
Maybe more for that, whether it's law or whatever.
Yeah.
Because right now it's all coming out of this. It's like the sun spitting out all these different,
Exactly.
solar flares.
But then also like, we're not going to have I guess maybe to pivot, like I'm almost kind of less interested in like, here's my thing I'll say to close the loop on the creative thing. It's like, it's not, yes, it's going to significantly impact the industry. Yes, it will probably result in not just jobs lost, but entire workflows and ecosystems
being rethought.
And I get the fears, and I'm definitely in the camp of like treading carefully, but I also feel that like some of it is a bit overblown. It's not ready to make complete movies end to end yet. This thing is very much in its infancy, and it's like playing with it and pushing it is helpful because I do see its limitations more. And like it's an impressive tool, but I think what people tend to forget and what's very easy to not notice when things are shared and go viral of like oh my God, look at this crazy video and the fidelity of like, this looks exactly like Trump doing this thing or exactly like Pedro Pascal. It's like, what the fuck? But it's like people are very careful about how they disguise its shortcomings. And I think, again, this speaks to sort of like the format it works in best right now is like social media viral videos or like projects I'm working on where it's a sizzle reel for internal use only to pitch or sell a project. It already has material pulled and ripped from other third-party sources. So if you add an AI establishing shot into the mix or something that maybe looks a little bit janky if you look at it too long, but in the cascade
it's
of
like
cuts.
Any kind of visual effect. I mean,
it's going to get better though.
I'll give you an example. Think about the first Jurassic Park movie where they really embraced the night and rain because it helped make
that's still a very common tool in VFX to hide. Yeah.
But it's gotten to the point now where you can have a complete CG character in the middle of the day.
Remember Gollum? That was a big deal when Lord of the Rings came out.
So the difference in years between those two things.
Do you want to hear my Gollum voice?
Sure, lay it on me.
Should I just do it real quick?
I think you should do it.
Well, Gollum. Remember when he coughs, he goes, Gollum. And he goes, Schmeagol, ring, the Backenses.
I have to interject a personal thing. This weekend we were at a get together that you hosted, and I
love Lord
there
of
was
the
a
Rings.
lot of Lord of the Rings discussion going on.
There was, because
and two camps.
People
kind of giving the other camp shit.
Well, I'm not a fantasy fan necessarily.
But you did love those movies.
Especially of that type of film. But like the Peter Jackson films, like I actually don't like the Hobbit films at all. And I feel like he probably regrets them too because he had to come back for it's kind of a money grab. And he stretched a book into 3 parts and used other Tolkien material. But it's like, it just doesn't make sense. The 3 original films are at that stage that we were talking about. You mentioned Jurassic Park, which was what, like 93?
So
Lord of the Rings, they came out 01, 02, 03, but they were shooting from like 96 to 99. And that felt like the sweet spot of like things were still analog, but it was also moving towards CG. They shot on film, but it like...
Well, and Weta became like
his digital effects house,
They're still...
Much in the same way that Digital Domain and ILM, like James Cameron has Digital Domain, Lucas made ILM. It's like the engineering side of filmmaking where it's like, how do we address a problem? I want to get this on screen and how do we do it? But, there's like a very...
But I guess the reason that I brought that up before was that I mean, it's going to just continue to get better. Look at
it will, but it's also right now it's
Pixar.
just a color on a
example.
canvas. Yeah,
Right. But Pixar, they made one movie with the lamp that was 30 seconds or a minute long.
Yeah.
And then they made a feature.
Luxo, I think it's called.
Well, it's what,
the one that goes.
that was their first.
I love that lamp, bro. He's so cool.
Those are good lamps.
And the ball is cute in that.
I know.
Shit. Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess my point was, all this stuff is so nascent and in its infancy. It's going to get.
What I hate though is that, like, I mean, a lot of it does look like ass. Like, I'm not, and I think there's an aspect.
I've been embracing the mistakes though. Oh, we blew it. We were going to start.
Oh yeah, putting things. Well, we'll pepper them in with the video. No, but I have a whole folder now when I'm like in the zone, kind of just like popping between Mid-Journey and Runway or generating things, you know, going through iterations. Because that's the other thing is like you do have to go through so many sort of like, at least in my experience, kind of dead ends in terms of prompting before you get to like what works for a specific piece. You know, if you're looking for something specific, unless you're just kind of exploring and experimenting, which is also totally valid. But yeah, I think anytime it comes back with a weird result, I've just been saving it in like a glitch folder. And like I have all these glitches now that are really interesting.
Yeah,
and
they're good.
I did, you know, take the step of like installing that Python thing and running it. Because I mean, the paywall behind these places is crazy too. And that's, I think, what I'm more fearful of is that we're all going to get stuck behind these subscription models paying for compute because compute is not cheap. And now it's become like oil or water.
I mean, that was
like,
the other thing we were going to get into. And not to kind of go away from the film industry at all, but I mean,
it relates. It all relates.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that nobody's
That's
really
the scary
talking
thing.
about the tremendous amount of energy that
they don't care. They're going to bulldoze and make it happen. And I mean, there's already significant subsidies that have been given to like OpenAI for this Texas Super
3 Mile
Center.
Island, and this is we're not breaking. These aren't breaking stories, but they're going to restart
worthwhile
3 Mile
talking about.
Island only to power a data farm.
It's going to be Microsoft's Azure cloud network.
So I mean, just think about the enormity of that for one company's data farm.
But even that's a fraction. And like they're talking about, I was reading something recently. I'm subscribed to like all these Substacks now of people that are kind of thought leaders in the space. Not because I'm like at all envious of someone's career in Silicon Valley, but it's like a lot of them are sort of like ex-tech people that have like kind of you know, they've been ostracized or they've left and they kind of are critical of the industry and where it's going. And like I think the sort of like instinct of a lot of these tech like scions and lords are just like they want to win this race, but it's like the cost to win it is going to be enormous. And like right now we don't have, like he made this interesting point in the same where it was essentially the thesis was like AI would be expanding exponentially faster. Human beings are the ones standing in the way. And that's the theory that a lot of these tech guys are operating on, where it's like feed it as much as we can because we want it to get to the point where, you know, it's just designing its own thing. That's like kind of what they touch
on that in Mountainhead.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's the other side
just
of the argument.
Pushing
and
it.
that if anybody hasn't seen that, it's pretty
pushing
prescient.
through. It is. Yeah. I mean, that in the end it becomes like a physical struggle at the end that represents what they're doing.
I know, but the moral debate is exactly that.
It's exactly the same, where it's like it is this move fast to break things mentality.
People need to get out of the way and just stop being a naysayer and see what happens.
It's change. It's evolution, and it's like survival of the fittest. It's it's actually very kind of futurist fascist thinking in that, like, if you're not fit for the future, you don't belong in it. And I mean, I was reading some today too about like, Meta's building all these massive data centers. They just pitched up tents in Louisiana so they could like start to plug in the base structure of it. And like Zuckerberg's down there in like galoshes and a hard hat, and Sam Altman's going down to his OpenAI
Seems like a moist, humid environment is not friendly for a data farm.
But it's
just to keep that at bay. Will
available
be
land and available reservoirs of water, because they got to pump in water. And so this is the point I was getting to, is that there's like a couple in Georgia, somewhere where a new Meta data center just got built. And right now I think it's pretty much just powering like Instagram, Facebook stuff. But obviously they want to heavy up into whatever their AI platform is going to be.
1,000 times more energy.
Of course. So they basically, there's like one older couple that's sort of on the perimeter of their property line, and like the Facebook data center is like right there. And they've been using so much water to run through the pipes there to keep the servers cool. And, that's just part of the way these data centers are built. They just suck up so much water.
Yeah. Well, it's like a nuclear power plant, same thing.
Exactly.
They need water.
They need it. And electricity is one thing, but like water is definitely
Well,
big.
you need electricity to pump the water.
Exactly.
Electricity to run the data farm.
100%. These are hard costs that you can't get around in terms of resources.
And there's no plan about this stuff. It's like we're not. I mean,
there's
we
none.
may be amplifying something that people aren't hearing, but this, and I have to be honest.
We got to ring the bell.
It really concerns me.
Do we have a bell?
No, but a whip would be good. Well, that's good too.
Shit.
Actually, laugh a while you can, Monkey Boy.
Yeah.
Is pretty apt.
I can't believe that
right
other
now.
one's still gone. Yeah. Wait, there was one that's kind of like a. Well, that's
one way to look at it, and it could be.
Could be. But here's the point I was getting to is that this article basically said this couple, they're, in their 70s, they live on the edge of this property for the Facebook data center. And because it's been sucking up so much water, they run on well water and like they have no water.
So it's sucking out of the aquifer, not
out of the aquifer apparently. And like they have sediment runoff in their water tank and they haven't been able to drink from the pipes and they're thinking about suing Facebook, but they don't know how, and they're older and they've just been buying bottled water. But it's like, the more and more you read this article, I mean, obviously the New York Times likes to be the paper of record and objectivity and, journalism and, you're impartial. You can't really say what side you're for. And I respect them, but it is very much, you can, the slant to it is
who
like,
the villain is.
Yes, it's very clear. And I don't disagree with their thesis, but it's like very old world versus new world. And the sense you get of the picture they're painting, which again is, it's part of the art of what they do. It's like selecting details to emphasize a point. There's a lot of photographs of them living in this like small little house and bottled water. And then across a electrified fence is the Facebook data center. And it just feels like an older way of life dying out and the new one that just steamrolls over it. I mean, it's very obvious the parallels they're making there, David and Goliath and just survival of the fittest. And so I feel like that's the mentality a lot of these companies operate at, and a lot of their sort of acquisitions operate under that. It's like we're just going to push through and whatever
I think
capital
that's
we
the
need to
next thing
spend.
we're going to see more and more of too. Is these companies, because they're all over the place. They're going to start getting sucked up by the.
Yeah.
Well, it's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, Meta's buying away talent.
They're poaching talent with insane,
all over the place.
Salaries, right? Like these crazy signing
Tens
bonuses.
of millions, I read in one of the articles.
And they said they're going to invest billions this year, 300 billion or some bullshit like that. These numbers don't even.
Well, they must
compute.
Somebody knows why they're spending this kind of money,
bro.
We're at a real inflection point.
Yeah, we're at a very real inflection point.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
Who knows what it is yet?
Well, to play the optimistic angle, and
there is an element of this
slim.
That should be.
It feels bleak, but yeah, you would think maybe because of the power and resources required to fuel this AI revolution and the fact that there's clearly so much money to be made and everybody's jumping on board this thing and we need to build more infrastructure to support the growth in AI, that could then elicit the type of breakthrough in terms of how we use resources and sustainable energy that maybe we haven't been able to hit upon yet in our climate crisis.
And actually,
right?
I think in the pro-growth world, that's one of the things.
That's one of the things they're
selling
citing.
Point saying AI is going to help us make the grid more efficient. AI is going to help us.
But I think there's going to be some hiccups
it'll
before
mitigate
then.
everything that's happening. But that
Major
also,
hiccups.
That's like maybe that'll happen.
Maybe not.
It won't.
And also, the nuclear thing is interesting, but that the uptime, Three Mile Island was there, and to restart it is still a laborious process, and it's not like flipping a switch.
It's an old
plant,
troubled nuclear.
Exactly, that
power
was
plant.
like in large part why we all. Well, we can get on that in a second because you were actually alive during that, so I want to hear your perspective. But I was researching more in terms of the nuclear thing, and there was an Economist article or something where it was like, yeah, that being put forward as a bipartisan issue is interesting. That this is like one of the first things in, God, who knows how long in our world of divided politics where it's like there is some alignment on both sides of the aisle.
There's a real
to bring back nuclear. It's like sustainable, but to build
smaller,
a new plant,
more nimble nuclear power plants.
They do have these things called small reactor models, SRMs, which are supposed to be. they have, a fraction of the output of like a 3 Mile Island reactor, but it's like
They're
sustainable. It's a bit more prefab in that, like, I think GM and Philips and some of these places.
I think. Is it?
GE, not GM. A Cadillac reactor would be fucking sick.
A lot of those companies do have their fingers in that.
But basically what I was trying to get to is that it's, the old model though, building these
massive,
it's going to take 5 to 10 years to do that. And tech works in like days and weeks, right?
But
months at
here's
most.
Something that I would be concerned about. And I think this would be a cool way to do it. If there are more manageable, which would also translate to safer, smaller nuclear power plants that could maybe just be dedicated to something specific.
Yeah.
Like running a data farm. Are they going to suck up all that energy, or is some of that going to also go into the grid for all the rest of us? Or are we going to start having brownouts to be able to have AI run things?
I think.
And all of a sudden, on 3 days a week, you're not going to have any electricity for 10 hours.
Well, this is where,
that's what I'm worried about.
The fact
if it grows too fast and the grid,
they've gutted all the regulatory agencies, right? So like
that's exactly
big
right.
government is a curse word now, and we're currently living through an administration that's basically just like dismantled all the infrastructure to kind of help bridge of the period that we're going through right now.
We're going to go through.
Would very much benefit from some
like
checks and balances.
Hold on,
hey, if you're going to build this massive data center, you got to allocate some of that to.
It's like you need a guy to go, if you plug in that giant thing over there, then I won't be able to run my lights over here.
But they don't give a fuck. I really do feel like the attitude of these places is like
move fast, break
exactly.
things.
But in the meantime, what does that mean? I think you're going to see at a larger scale what's happening with that couple in Georgia with their water table getting fucked up. But like, think of that in terms of cities, counties. Like, I just can't imagine a world in which the way things currently work and the gridlock that we have in government and just lack of accountability or any sort of checks and balances is going to translate to a smooth process in terms of the growth.
Well, and if you break it down to energy use, in this country,
there's just not enough.
I was going to say we consume a lot of energy.
Where are we going to get it
from?
Sort
of maxed out, and all of a sudden we're introducing an element to our environment that's going to use more energy than anything else we do.
Not to mention
where does it come from?
Exactly. Not to mention the chips that power a lot of these things, the GPUs, NVIDIA, which is like worth so much money.
I think
they're most highly valued.
Or company to be worth $4 trillion
Insane.
Or something. It happened last week.
That skyrocketed because as AI grew and as the need for compute grew, that became the holy grail. And to make, I think, a single NVIDIA chip is like a multi-billion-dollar process and very resource heavy.
Yes.
So it's not like that is an easy. That also requires significant amount of.
Yeah, so
input.
It's really just how do we absorb this increase in energy consumption, which is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Depending on how plugged in AI becomes to the world, but they seem to be dead set on it. So how do we absorb that on our grid and make it not disruptive?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've sort of veered away from the creative element of this, but I think all of this is all important. And I think people in our industry and people who are interested in that have to understand that all the toys we want to play with maybe are also going to be, there's a price to be paid for that. And
100%.
How do we do that?
Yeah. Well, I'm also, not to sound Pollyannish, but like, even using these things.
I like Pollyanna.
Pollyanna? That means like overly optimistic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Me using a term again that I don't know. Like when I said
you
salad.
You knew what it was.
I did, yeah.
And you knew
or just
salad
wasn't
days
certain.
is not why it was called that.
Yeah, it makes sense now, though.
Like Up and Atom.
One time I texted you and said Up and Adam, like the name Adam and Eve, and you went, no, it's Adam. And I was like, oh. But what was I going to say? Yeah, no, I think, what were we getting at in terms of, tools? I mean, I don't feel necessarily, there's two levels of guilt and shame attached to this. Right now, there's major taboo against AI, and like, especially in a creative space, even admitting that you've like explored or used it elicits like an insane ethical debate. Like, it's very, very polarizing, and people feel very strongly about it, which I understand. So there's that sense that you bring into ever playing with it ever. I feel guilt.
Yeah.
And then there's the sense that, like, every time you submit a prompt, that's like burning X amount of energy at some data center that's getting, the load-bearing sort of devices that take these things in and are using
quite
water.
A bit more than like
I don't, it's hard to think of that because it's so abstract, it's so intangible. Well, it's just
happening. You're just sitting there with your computer.
Exactly. It's not tethered to anything physical in the immediate sense. So it's like and it's so instantaneous in terms of a return back that it feels like some magic.
A lot
is
of this
happening.
usage is invisible. It's like,
exactly,
and
that's why
Google
people are
now uses AI when you search,
exactly,
whether you need it or not.
Yeah.
When you ask, I'm not going to say it out loud because there's one of those devices in this room. But when you say, blah blah blah, what's the weather?
Yeah,
that's using AI now.
Yeah,
and there's no stopping that.
You could say it. That would be a funny note. Should we talk to it? What is it? Computer. What's the temperature?
I just probably use enough
She's British.
energy to power my TV. Oh, not right now.
No, not right now. Shut up. Yeah. So that was your Google.
I wonder
Apple?
what the reorder was.
Is it an Apple one?
That one's not Amazon.
So, but like, listen. Also, like, what the fuck?
The Apple ones. I
is
love
the future.
Apple,
what are they trying to build? Like, I don't understand. Like, are we all just? There was that interesting article you sent me, the New Yorker one, about the guy that was like sort of critiquing
the college
AI ads. No,
AI,
the common thread in a lot of like, because like Apple is running commercials for Apple Intelligence, which is basically just ChatGPT built into emails and texts where you can have it summarize or revise things if you need to have things in a more concise or professional tone. It's all kind of built under the hood now. They've yet to kind of heavy up and come out with their own sort of bespoke model, but I'm sure they will, given where the industry's heading. But he was saying, like, ads for that or ads for OpenAI or any of these tools, Microsoft, Copilot. It's always involving these kind of middle management people that are like late for a meeting and weren't able to like look at the notes and they quickly kind of go, oh, AI did summarize it for me. And so it's like, the implication, because that's like a running thread with a lot of these things, is they seem to be pitching it to a demographic of people that are like,
oh, I didn't go to that meeting. What happened?
We're just going to become a nation of sort of apathetic pencil pushers who let AI do our jobs, and then what are we? They're telling us to essentially stop trying at anything.
And
like I don't understand.
But that's
like,
the scary thing. Because
that's
it's already
the messaging.
happening. There are people who I know already that are just using it for everything.
Yeah,
it's just on all day long.
People I know use it for therapy and shit.
Yeah, so it's like
it
that's
isn't
happening, and it's
not
happening
real.
really fast.
It's doing math essentially.
It's doing math, but I mean, people are going.
To
I
elicit
don't know
a
how
reaction.
you fill out all this paperwork without being able to, use chat. And
well, one benefit I do see of it though, in the immediate term, that feels applicable and like kind of the best case scenario, kind of like the Star Wars future of like Luke Skywalker and R2-D2 being kind of co-pilots, where it's like it feels like an accessory and a level up rather than a sort of like crutch, is where you can use it to code now and to build app structures that run. Like people have built full apps using ChatGPT code. You can correct it and steer it, and it helps to have a base knowledge, of course, of like Python.
Yeah, we always are going to need that,
but
or then we're not going to know
exactly
what's happening anymore.
Yeah, I think it can't do everything, and I guess the fear is that the world, a lot of these tech companies want to build and are so aggressively trying to bring into reality,
like a super
is like to let this thing make all decisions for us. And it's almost like, I think it does veer into pseudo spiritualism, where you know for sure the Elon Musks and Grimes, his ex-wife, who kind of runs in this sort of like techno-punk culture that very much believes in like almost this kind of like Dunian Frank Herbert world in which like we are actually meant to give birth to this like machine intelligence and we need to carry it out, and our duties as humans are to like bring this sort of like, we are disciples to this thing, and like we need to take whatever steps necessary to let it be birthed.
It's our job to invent this,
to bring artificial general intelligence online. But it could be Skynet, and it could be fucking Matrix, where we're just plugged in.
Actually, shout out to our friend Ben, who was
Yes.
at the event over the weekend.
Yeah.
And we got talking about this too, which is one of the reasons we thought about doing this.
Yeah.
But he had a good point. He said he's been reading that like they're worried this is going to become so intelligent that we won't know we won't be able to figure out what it is it's even doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could just happen kind of like right under our noses, and
we can't comprehend it because it's going to start
talking in ways.
I think that's if you look at the dark side, everybody's fear is that all these things are going to start talking to each other and all the interconnectivity. And once that happens and it's in the internet, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
As it finds its oats. You know?
Finds its oats.
sort of figures out who it is. So
yeah, I think
sowing your oats is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's going to sow its oats too.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Is it, or is it just going to be benign and let us tell it what to do?
I mean, that's a whole other angle.
Who
too.
knows? I guess that's
impact,
the fear.
the impact.
That's the dark side of that we're going to get to the point where
there's just no, I mean, the analogs or the parallels, rather so far, like in terms of its impact on culture is like, people are comparing it to
the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, agrarian and industrial revolution.
Now
where it's
they're
like
calling it the technical. It's another
intelligence
age.
revolution.
It'll be the intelligence age.
There was a good point though in the same like Substack I read. We could link all this stuff. I just didn't have
you've got me reading the one guy. What's his name?
AP
again?
Jones. Yeah, he's good. Someone else recommended him to me, but he's good. He just breaks it down in a way that's like very cogent. Because I think it is important to stay.
But even that ecosystem, the world around this that's sort of reporting on all of these things, is weird and changing. But it's
100%, very big.
I'm sorry.
Well, because now, and the other kind of nauseating thing is that there's, you know exactly the type of people that do this because they've been doing this in the industry forever. Whenever a new piece of software or anything shiny comes out, they want to, like carnival barkers, set up a fucking line and charge you money to come and learn how to use it. And there's tons of these motherfuckers online that are like, let me do a crash course AI class for you. And it's like, the whole point of this is that you can fucking do it yourself.
And we actually sort of talked about, do we want to talk about AI? But it's almost impossible to not bring it up.
I just feel like it's been pretty heavy, like in my immediate foreground for the past week, just because I was using it at work. And
even everybody I talked to the other day,
we
were at a party for, it was my daughter's birthday party, Danny threw it, and his girlfriend Luna. And so it was a lot of young people
Luna.
for me, and people Danny's age, but it's...
Oh, not young?
No. I said young. These were all people your age.
I know.
And we were all talking about this, but I was impressed and also a little surprised about how much everybody's already incorporating that into... They're all using it for something now already.
Oh, for sure. Well, we were talking... and
it's not even... What is it, 2 years since ChatGPT was open to the public?
22
or 2.5 years?
22, 2.5. 2.5. But it's crazy. Our friend Aaron is like talking about how he's seen people use it in music, and he's
a music producer.
Yeah,
I mean, I was impressed that he's keeping pretty optimistic and saying I still feel like it's a tool.
Yeah, I mean, I that's kind of my...
I mean, we all hope that.
Instinct with film too, and I don't as much as I do feel this kind of like tug of guilt and shame when using it. I'm like, oh God, what is this? Like Pandora's box you've opened. I'm also like equally, very quickly that feeling's replaced with like, oh, okay, I got a handle on this. It's really bad at this. It's good at this. It's a fucking tool. Like I don't feel as scared when I'm using like a VO or Runway and getting to know it and pushing it to its limits, because at least then you kind of get a grapple on it and you understand where it's going.
I mean, you're absolutely doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You have to know how this, you have to, anybody out there that's, in their middle of their life that's going to have a career.
What I think
this is going to be part of it.
What I hope doesn't happen, and I'm sure there's going to be someone to fill this gap, is that even with the tools as they develop, it doesn't become, I hope it doesn't get to the point where it's so plug and play that they're just dumbing it down to the point of it being sort of like the CapCut version of AI, which I know is going to happen.
Happens, then I could be replaced as a podcast host.
Well, bro, you can do that in VO. It's crazy. They've like you can generate like fake podcast clips and shit. It's fucking wild. But also,
nobody can generate fake me. No, I kid.
Nobody can generate fake me. That seems like a challenge.
Wait till they
to
get
the
a load of
machines.
fake me.
I mean, it's just 2001. It's Hal. Let's think of some film references of AI that goes haywire. Okay, obviously Terminator, Skynet.
Well, 2001.
Well, 2001 is the GOAT. Obviously, HAL is the fucking most evil computer ever, which I, until recently, didn't know was IBM.
Yes,
HAL.
He wanted to call it IBM.
Yeah, which I love,
Question, though, because it's been so long since we watched it together, I think, Metropolis. I'm trying to remember what the robot, if it does sort of take on its own thing. But
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I can't remember either.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's been something in science fiction.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea of this, which is also sort of weird, it's like, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prop. I mean, people have been writing about the idea of this for decades.
Yes.
If not more.
Yeah.
in one version or another in science fiction.
You know what's so crazy though too, and maybe this I'm reaching and I'm veering a little bit, but it's like I was thinking recently about, and I don't have a background in microbiology, but it's like the human cellular structure is so complex to the point that like to produce it in any sort of like visual graph is like dizzying.
Isn't that the Holy Grail? I mean, isn't that the concept behind this?
It's the Holy Grail is like we're essentially making the pieces that will become like right now we might only have the protoplasm of the cell or the endoplasmic reticulum, and then we're slowly building the cell wall. It's like I do think that we're on to like steps that could become something major. And I was researching, we were talking about this last week of like near future projections, not even near future, distant future projections of like, there's like a very common sort of astrophysics and scientific theory that like a planet to sustain itself in terms of any sort of advanced technology would need to be so developed in terms of energy to the point that like we would have to have some capability to like harness like heat.
We can't
from a star.
We're not going to be able to
right? Like a dying star
kind
is
of
like,
energy.
you need to get it from like outer space. And so, yeah, even those though, the sort of theoretical structures they propose as being like a way to power us into the future are like so complex and would need multiple parts and multiple
Here's my question.
breakthroughs before
all we're reading about now are all these things that people are spending billions and billions developing AI. Is there any conversation about this should be running parallel to this discussion about energy and the energy consumption? Because it has that need is going to have to be met.
Well,
and
no, right now they're just saying nuclear. They just keep saying nuclear.
What does that mean? I mean,
but also,
what are the numbers?
That's good. Let's get back to this. So, yes, obviously, this country's had a very shaky history with nuclear power. In general, it's been sort of something that we've, we were embracing it. There were a lot of plants that were planned to go on the grid. And then because of 3 Mile Island, a lot of stuff kind of fell by the wayside. And we had a public sort of fear about it. So, can you bring me back to that time? What happened? What the hell was it?
That was the first one, which was what they call a near meltdown.
No one actually, there was no actual contamination.
There was within the area, but it's
in Pennsylvania.
What could have been a disaster was averted because they figured out a way to cool it. Yeah. But what happens is, in a nutshell, when those rods overheat, if they're not cooled, it's the same kind of thing. They will overheat, and that theoretically would burn down through the Earth's core, which is what the term China syndrome came from.
Oh,
that's
like
what that means.
Straight through
so
the
that's why they named the movie that came out, which was
Michael Douglas.
It was just one of those weird serendipitous things. That movie was being made right when 3 Mile Island happened.
It kind of predicted it.
Well, and when it came out, it was like everyone was going.
Of course, yeah. It's like Jane Fonda and Jack Lemmon.
Jane Fonda and
Michael Douglas, right?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, he's like
I think
a reporter.
he produced it too. I can't remember.
Yeah. So it was a error in terms of.
Well, what the movie's about is the little sort of tiny things that maybe
add up.
Little mistakes add up to what was almost the same disaster that stopped at the last minute.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a Chernobyl level.
Wasn't too much longer after 3 Mile Island.
Yeah,
so
similar thing.
You combine those, and we had an earthquake here in California, so they were going to shut down San Onofre, which they still haven't done. And that was
they have officially now.
No, it's just they just extended its lifetime just recently. Because they have no replacement for the energy, and now even more so.
There's one up near San Luis Obispo that also runs.
There's one on Lake Michigan near where our friends Mo and Weber live.
Yeah,
it's still running on the lake.
Yeah.
So some of those older ones in particular are. I mean, who thought building building nuclear power plant in an earthquake zone right by the ocean was a great idea?
Yeah, I just think in general it's like these.
So there were anyways, just to close the loop, as you say, on what you asked me to describe.
Yeah.
So around that time, part of it was obviously what do you do with all this spent fuel? Because we still don't have an answer for that. It's just getting buried because it's radioactive for 200 years.
In the desert in Nevada, right? They just put it in a concrete.
And nobody wants it. So sometimes it's
encase
just moving
it in concrete.
Around.
Yeah.
So that's one problem. Apparently, these newer reactors are going to create less spent fuel. I don't know, but there's still no solution to that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just the potential for a disaster.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same thing with when they built the bomb, when they didn't know when they set the first one off if it was going to light the whole atmosphere on fire. They really didn't know.
Yeah.
So anyways, not to be,
yeah,
the sky is falling guy, but so there's there's a dark side to the nuclear power idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the other near-term solution would be. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to, this isn't going to get stopped.
No.
I think that's
that's the thing. And it's like, I think the prevailing theory in tech in general, it's funny, seemingly unrelated, but I think it's very connected to sort of the ethos that prevails up there in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley amongst these people that have sort of become the technocrats of our current world, right? They own so much in terms of utilities and resources, and they govern how much of our lives are spent online.
The idea that a company is going to be able to restart a massive power,
it's
nuclear
the future.
power
It's what we're living in, like a technocracy where it's just like these autocrats that control resources and influence policy. I mean, that's not far-fetched. That's what it is.
No,
now.
and I mean,
so
it's funny,
it's just
funny
crazy.
as Mountainhead becomes. Yeah. Those archetypes are pretty close to the real guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have people that are urging caution or attempting to sort of put guardrails on it. You have those who are just like, just blunder in and figure it out. We'll catch up. Well,
and I thought it was
make
telling
innovations.
that there's 4 guys in that storyline.
Yeah, and the only
one of them is
a person of color. Yeah, exactly.
Well, also remotely the voice of reason.
Oh, yeah,
and not 100%.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, because I mean, they're profit making machines, but also like what I was getting to is that I rewatched Social Network with Luna. Shout out Luna, and I mean, I've seen it dozens of times already. It's a fucking classic. It's so good.
It is a good movie.
It's like a perfectly engineered film. One of Fincher's best, next to Zodiac, in my opinion. But
Mindhunter.
Yeah, Mindhunter's so good. Bring it back for a 3rd season, please. Yeah, so it depicts a mindset though, because at best that movie isn't really even about the app or anything. It's just about a type of thinking that prevails up there.
The world.
That's I don't think specific to Zuckerberg. It's in the water there. It's endemic to what that industry is, which is I am going to move as quickly as possible. If you can't catch up, then fuck you. You're fucked. Like it's just sort of like I said. The movie's about him getting his wrist slapped for boxing people out of a company, but like the attitude and the arrogance the whole time is like, I designed it. You guys got left in the dust. I'm sorry if you got left in the dust and you need to feel like I need to wipe your eyes or something, but that's it. And that is very palpable as an attitude in tech right now. It feels like that's just sort of how it's governed.
And I can tell you from personal experience, I remember specifically driving home from work, listening to NPR, and they interviewed Zuckerberg, and I forget who the other guy was at the time, talking about the Facebook when it was just designed for incoming freshmen to be able to meet the people that you're going to go to school with. And it wasn't that long ago.
No.
I mean, it's 30-some years ago, or not even. But I remember listening to that interview going, oh, wow, what an interesting idea. And I mean, look what that company's become.
Yeah, massive.
I don't think they were anticipating that's what they were going to be at the time, but
it went there. And it's like in large part because he let himself be puppeteered by the powers of Silicon Valley. Like Peter Thiel was gave him founding fucking, angel investor and the Sean Parker of it all. And the sort of the sense of like your idea needs to evolve, and it's like a 3-stage rocket that has different. And I think AI is operating that way now, which is just fucking crazy too.
Well, I mean, I guess that was the reason I even reached backwards for the interview I heard with Zuckerberg, because it wasn't that long ago. And you remember, it was like nothing back then. Really, it was literally, I think you still had to be going to where were they? Yale or Harvard?
You had to have like a .edu to sign up.
To even sign up for it. It was just for students. But that was, was not that long ago. And now look where AI is.
Yeah.
Now already.
Yeah.
And it'll be half that. To get to the
100%.
equivalent of where Facebook is or Meta is now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's scary, man. I'm not super optimistic about it, and yet at the same time, I'm like, almost kind of like canary in the coal mine, trying to figure out how to use these things without destroying the planet, and like attempt to get some sort of facility or purchase on like how to.
Maybe there's a balance there. We don't know. Maybe there is.
I do.
I hope so.
Yeah, because it's not going to fucking go away. And I think there's always going to be a premium. I think the more things become sort of synthetic and plastic and kind of AI aided, you're never going to lose the sense of I hope we don't lose the sense of a distinction between something that was organically made and something that's
going to be the trick.
Wholly AI and something that was augmented by AI. But it's like, there is a way in which it can be used as a supplement to your workflow and as a sort of adjunct to existing workflows that are primarily self-generated, right? Like if you have an idea and you're cooking on something and you get to a point where you're like, I'm just missing this one shot, I need it as a placeholder, AI can generate that for you. It's going to get way better over time and become even more of a asset. But I just think like, I don't want to fault people for like attempting to explore its use cases.
And I would encourage anybody that, especially in the filmmaking world too, you're going to have to, it's going to become part of
what is
workflow.
Alarming and maybe disturbing is that there is also kind of this now like industry of, not industry, but just sort of growing groundswell of like people that, you know, are like, well, we can do anything now. We can make any movie we want. And like, it doesn't matter. Like AI does it all for us and yada, 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 yada. And it's like, I definitely haven't seen anything yet that convinces me that it's like actually like soup to nuts able to do anything of value yet.
Know, even if it was, are we going to end up in a world where maybe like a mainstream sort of blockbuster with a plot that's been redone? That would be considered now maybe a fun popcorn movie. Going to live in a world where those are going to be generated by AI, and they'll be like. But that's kind of sad though that all the human being filmmakers are. It's going to reminds me of like when you and I went to Comic-Con. And all the people who sold comics were forced to the edges because all the big television productions and features have come in and taken the whole place over. I'm worried that might be what happens. And then all that gets relegated to some boutique-y, fringy thing. I mean, I don't think that'll ever go away. There's always going to be an audience for organic.
Yeah, and also like art. I just don't think I don't know,
how big
man.
Is that audience going to be?
I don't know. That's the question. It's like right now, you know, because I poke around on these subreddits and I've done some research on YouTube of people that are making AI art and like I should say I don't like full disclosure. I'm not an expert in this field. Like I definitely am just still trying to learn.
But between the two of us, for sure, and people that in our orbit, you've definitely put your foot into the water more than anybody else.
Yeah,
and I think absolutely, I would encourage that.
Yeah, but it's just weird because I do think, from what I can see, you know, there's maybe a very kind of niche amount of people that are like attempting to kind of kit bash AI models and attempt to do something that's kind of cool and avant-garde and like break the models into like weird texture generations, which is cool. Like gallery art, video art kind of shit where it's like, this isn't human, but it's the uncanny valley of like, it's not quite human, but it is. And so I have seen some of that, which is interesting and intriguing because it's like, well, clearly there's a motive and an interest and an intention behind this that goes beyond just like, wow, look, I pressed a button and this thing came out. But a lot of the rest of it feels like that. And it's like,
well, because I think that's all people know how to do yet.
Yeah. And it's just a little bit alarming that I can't imagine a world in which an audience would just take that wholesale and swallow it and be like, yeah, this is real. This is fine. It's like, it still looks fucked. Like still, well, like I don't know. It just looks. There's not yet.
I'm in no rush to have an AI movie.
No, but I am interested in a world in which potentially the ability to scale as an independent filmmaker becomes much easier. Let's say you have. I mean, this is totally theoretical, but what I'm about to describe, I think, could technically happen based on where the tools are going. It's like you already have some of this stuff actually on the market, which is like taking footage that you've shot, running it through like a runway, which has a suite of apps, and you can like easily remove a background like you would in Photoshop, which now allows you to auto sort of like isolate objects.
You, even on your phone
you don't have to manually mask anymore. Yeah. You can auto do it and then maybe adjust the mask, but like VFX workflow is what I'm trying to get at. And like you have a film, right, where it's like, you know, you can invest a certain amount of money. Let's say it's a period piece. It's set in the 50s in LA. You can shoot a certain amount of interiors on a stage and you have wardrobe and you have whatever. The biggest cost on a lot of those projects is like, street lock-offs and then set deck and renting old cars. It's like
dressing all the background people.
Yeah, you get where I'm going.
And then using CG to erase anything new.
If you can natively generate in AI a series of consistent establishing shots to which then place your characters in, which used to be plate work for VFX, you know, like if they can make the plates for you and make the exteriors,
because
then you could make a period piece film as a mid to low budget filmmaker and not have to involve
already. I mean, even with CG elements, we've been able to do more of that.
It's flexible
with some clever production, like The Nick is a good example of that, where he used it very sparingly, but he also shot around every, in
New York, which is a city that, has a variety of looks. And
like a horse and carriage in front of an old hospital, and there you go.
Yeah, I love The Nick.
But I think that's a good point. That's a perfect place where something like that could be used. Because I think of some of the older movies, that were set in an earlier time that would use like stock footage, like newsreel footage.
Exactly.
It's all grainy. It doesn't match the rest of the picture.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to be able to do that and have it feel like it was shot.
Yeah. I think there's something, to me, at least in my brain, that excites me of like, you know, because...
But then what's the next step, though? Like, that looked pretty great. What if we have a character? That's my fear. Is that,
well...
Like you're saying, let's... Some of these shots we haven't gotten yet. Let's figure out what we're going to need so we don't shoot too much material. And you have AI generate 2 or 3 shots to fill in a hole. And eventually it's like, it looks pretty good. We don't really need to go shoot that.
Yeah.
And then...
But I think right now it's still at the level of like...
Yeah, we're not there yet.
The way deep fakes have looked in film, when like they had the young Princess Leia at the end of Rogue One.
That was not...
Carrie Fisher sort of deep fake. Or the Peter Cushing deep fake. It's like, those all look so fucking
but those
bad.
were CG. That wasn't AI.
No, I know, but I'm saying like those are egregiously out of place with the rest of the film, the tone,
already
the aesthetic.
You could do that. If
you
it was
could,
an
but what I'm
8-second
saying
piece.
is that it is the blending, right? It's like not using the same bag of tricks. It's like you're always mixing it up. Like I could imagine AI being in the mix in very strategic ways for establishing shots or maybe punching something out.
Let me ask you a question because you've used this.
Yeah.
Could you have your plate or your background be green and then have AI just generate a character, which you could then put anywhere? I mean, I don't know. You should be able to do that. So it would generate it with a green background, and then you could key it out and put it on anything.
That feasibly should work. Yeah, conceivably.
So something like
I haven't
things like
tried
that,
that kind
which
of work,
would then take. I mean, that or if it's a vehicle, that's going to be CG work, but not anymore. If you can if it can become consistent.
That's the thing. It's like I think all these places are heading to a point where they want to be like a bespoke one-stop shop where you're not just generating isolated pieces of video anymore that you're offloading from the internet to bring into your NLE, whether that be Premiere, Avid, or Final Cut. It's like I could easily see a world in the next year where a Runway or a Google comes out. I mean, they're already kind of pushing it towards that with like a timeline editor of like, let's keep these clips all in one place. You can iterate. I mean, VO has this thing now where you're allowed to scene build. It's really wobbly and not quite good. But the idea is
probably in beta.
Keep a character consistent. You have one generation that works. You keep everything kind of bracketed.
Like that person.
Exactly.
Make that face.
When they can crack that, then we really have some cause for concern. And I think we have cause for concern now, but it's like, I don't know, man. I guess it's like the theory. It just depends on how you're wired. And I'm definitely like, at least in the past month, in terms of exploring and using these tools and kind of just trying to get familiar and also just wrap my head around the thinking and the news in the space because it moves so fast. Yeah. Like my whole theory with it is like, I would rather stay informed and involved, even if that comes with a bit of discomfort and a bit of like, kind of like, again, just sort of nauseating feeling of like, oh my God, I'm like working for the Empire. Like I'm using like the fucking Death Star controls right now. But at the same time, what would
better you than somebody else?
Yeah, exactly. Are we gonna go storm a data center and like burn it down?
I think
do you want to?
This
I
is
will fucking do it.
Like, this is a great way to sort of wrap it up because you just touched on how I was going to kind of close this too. It's like, here's the thing. Turning our heads to looking the other direction, pretending like, well, you know what? I don't like the way this goes. Yeah. My card's running out.
Oh, it is.
So anyways, I'll try to close with my comment, which is pretending it's not there isn't going to make it go away. So as a filmmaker or an artist, I would encourage you to learn how to do it, to learn how to use the tools so that they don't catch you unawares. Because it's coming one way or the other. And if you're part of it, at least we can try to steer it in the right way.
I think so. And I also feel that the benefit of knowing it is knowing its limits and knowing where it fails. And, the sooner you can wrap your head around it and realize that it is a tool to be harnessed and it has plenty of flaws right now. Again, that glitch folder I have, that's a big folder.
We got some good ones too.
Oh, man, we could do some glitches at the end.
And I think the best way to say goodbye is... Which one is it?
Yeah, exactly. You
We
choose.
get well, either one of those are pretty dark.
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah,
thank you for watching,
yeah,
listening.
thank you guys for watching.
And I'm sorry it took us a little while to kind of get wound up, but
I know
we
it
did.
did. We
got
did.
there.
I think it was just an espresso machine not working.
Yeah,
and,
we
and
were
all
throwing.
that.
We'll
Yeah.
cut some of that down.
I might put it in the video one after you cut it.
Well, I'm cutting the video one. So
Well, we have a new workflow.
you'll see. Yeah. Danny's going to do all the spice. I'm going to cut the
like
picture
Dune
track.
Spice.
All right. Thank you for listening always
thank you
and
guys.
watching, and please share with other people. We're trying to grow an audience.
Yeah, we are, and
we're gonna get that thing working.
Yeah, right now. All right.
All right.
Bye, guys. Love you guys.
Later.